When you look at what it takes to dominate as a modern NFL offense, you need to be versatile, able to beat your opponent on the ground and through the air. For Buffalo, their dual threat attack has made them one of the best and most consistent offenses of the decade. Franchise quarterback Josh Allen became the fastest player in NFL history to score 300 touchdowns, and his team has surpassed 30-plus points in each of their first 4 games this season, something they hadn't done since the former glory days in 1992. If the Bills want to rewrite history and finally win their franchise's first Lombardi Trophy, it's their offense that will get them there. So let's break down what makes Buffalo a point-scoring machine. Welcome back to another video of the Turfed Football Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kieran Drover, but as you can tell, my background has completely changed, and I want to give a special shout out to this guy who commented on my most recent video telling me that the background needed improving. I totally agreed with him, so I hope this array of records and football books and footballs and football helmets beats the ceiling fan that I had previously. I'm super excited for today's video, not only because of this new and improved studio, if you will, but because I'll be covering, as you can tell, my favorite team, and that is the Buffalo Bills. I personally think that they have the best offense in football and the standard for a modern NFL offense, and it starts with their rushing attack. James Cook, I believe, is a top 7, maybe 5 running back in the league as of right now. They run 13 personnel, close to the top of the league in terms of usage. That's 1 running back and 3 tight ends. And then, of course, their offensive line is not only upper echelon in terms of pass blocking, but they're great in the run game as well. Then, of course, they have Josh Allen, who has taken a more risk-averse approach to his game as he's gotten older, and he is now a technician. He can beat defenses before the snap with his mind, and when he needs to, occasionally still put the cape on and become his alter ego, Superman. Then there's Joe Brady, the offensive play caller. He had the opportunity to potentially become a head coach in the league elsewhere this offseason, but decided to stick around and continue to improve this Buffalo offense. I'm going to talk about his extreme use of motion and how much that helps put his players in the best position to succeed, and then how he sequences or marries his plays to take advantage of what the defense is giving Buffalo. I'm super excited once again to be covering this offense. I've dove into every single week worth of tape, all of the advanced numbers, so please stick around if you want to know what makes a modern NFL offense run. Like the Bills, let's start on the ground with their dominant rushing attack. Through 4 weeks, they lead the NFL in each of these categories: a 0.15 EPA, or expected points added per rush, 654 total rushing yards, and 9 total rushing touchdowns. James Cook signed a 4-year, $48 million extension during training camp, and he has certainly led the way. He has 100-plus yards on the ground in each of his last 3 games, and his 21 total touchdowns since the beginning of 2024 leads everybody at the position. Yes, that's more than Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs. The list goes on. His combination of elusiveness and vision, breakaway speed, and an improved contact balance throughout his career, again, has catapulted him into the upper tier of players at his position, and I'm super excited to see how he will continue to grow as he gets more touches than he ever has in his career during this season. Cook is at his most dominant in the Bills' zone running scheme, where he can push the line of scrimmage and find cutback lanes to gallop through that Buffalo is so good at creating. But the Bills have also run more gap runs over the past couple of weeks, showing off their running backs' total versatility. However, the part of his game that I am most impressed with is his ability to force missed tackles despite being listed at just 5'11", 190 pounds. Through 4 weeks, he ranks tied for 4th amongst running backs with 17 missed tackles forced. Not only is he elusive, but he has become a powerful runner who can play through contact, especially near the goal line, where he has totally diminished the Bills' usage of the tush push. Moving along to the Bills' usage in the run game of 13 personnel, which I already mentioned is when there is 1 running back and 3 tight ends on the field at a time. Their 22 plays out of this package ranks 5th most in the NFL, but their 9.03 total EPA or expected points added, when using that personnel package is league leading. And it is all thanks to rookie tight end and Bills X Factor, Jackson Haas. Haas was drafted in the 5th round after having played college ball at Georgia Tech and Yale. So yes, he's a genius with Ivy League grit. The Bills offensive line coach Aaron Kromer, who is widely regarded as one of the best in the business, and starting left guard David Edwards have both called Haas the best blocking tight end they've ever seen. And it shows up on tape when you look at not only how often the Bills are using him, but how he's been built into their scheme. He's already played 39% of the Bills' offensive snaps this season, and they have Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. Last season, backup offensive tackle Alec Anderson was used as a 6th offensive line in the role that we've seen from Haas now, but Haas provides a level of versatility that Anderson couldn't, in the sense that he can also run and catch passes, and we've already seen him catch one of Josh Allen's most crucial completions of the season thus far. The Bills' second last drive of the game, while trailing by 8 points, they run out their 13 personnel package on 1st and 10, with Haas in line on the right side of the formation. Unsurprisingly, Kyle Hamilton shades toward the side with Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman, the two more likely receiving options, as the middle of the field safety in cover 3. Haas gets out of his stance quickly and runs up the seam, and because Hamilton isn't worried about Haas as a potential target, his eyes are on Kincaid and Coleman, while Haas gets open for a missile from Josh Allen, setting up 1st and goal for the Bills. The out and up route from Dawson Knox was crucial as well, because it widened the boundary corner just enough so that he couldn't knock the ball away from Haas. But even when the Bills aren't in 13 personnel, their offensive line is so good at creating displacement and working downfield to the second level of the defense. Check out these plays from their win over the Saints, where Buffalo was in 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end. Much smaller, but it doesn't matter. This offensive line is dominant. Here the Bills are using 11 personnel, 1 running back and 1 tight end, and are lined up in their ace right nasty formation to run weak side zone. Because the Bills are in a smaller personnel package, the Saints match with a nickel defense, and it's up to the Bills' offensive line to eat. Watch the double team on the one-tech defensive tackle from left guard Osiris Torrance and center Connor McGovern. The pair blows New Orleans one-tech off the ball, and Cook scampers completely untouched for a 7-yard gain on 1st down. If your offensive line can create that level of displacement at the point of attack, you are going to have a field day on the ground. Moving ahead, let's discuss the Bills' best player on either side of the ball. And yes, surprisingly so, that is quarterback Josh Allen. The 2024 NFL MVP has totally changed the way that he plays over the past season and 4 games. He consistently does the smart, right thing with the football and has changed the narrative of him being too reckless. Over his past 13 games, Allen has scored 34 touchdowns while only throwing 2 interceptions. So the touchdown production is still there without the turnovers. In fact, Josh's 1.3% turnover-worthy play rate is ranked 3rd best in football through 4 weeks. But let's take it a step further. The Bills haven't lost the turnover battle in 26 consecutive games, dating back to Week 18 of the 2023 season. Allen has finally realized that each and every possession in the NFL is extremely valuable. The Bills' entire philosophy has been put it in his hands as often as possible. That means taking care of it on offense and taking it away on defense. Believe it or not, the Bills' defense leads the league with 149 takeaways since Allen broke out in 2020. And this philosophy is finally coming to fruition because Josh is finally taking care of the football. There's no more backyard football for Josh, at least not as often as we saw him do it before. He's taking calculated risks based on what the defense and the game situation is asking of him. Which brings me to my next topic, his improvement as a signal caller. The best quarterbacks are those who can beat a defense before the ball is even snapped. Josh has become one of the smartest players in football, who's able to diagnose what the opposing defense is giving to him, and then check or alert to what's going to beat said defense. There's one play in particular from the Bills' season opening victory against the Baltimore Ravens that I think truly showcases Josh's skill set as a true technician. This is 3rd and 6 for the Bills, and Josh immediately motions Cook out of the backfield where he's lined up against Malachi Starks, revealing that Baltimore is likely playing man coverage. So then, the Bills' offense motions Shakir to confirm that Baltimore is in man, which they are because Marlon Humphreys follows him, And you can see from there that there being no deep safety signals Baltimore is also in cover 0. Whenever the back end of the defense is in a straight line while there is a pressure look, they are probably in cover 0. Allen then brings Cook back into the formation, which leads Starks to believe he is staying into pass protect, and therefore Starks is going to add himself to the blitz. But just before the snap, watch Josh point Cook to release through the C-gap and into the flat while Starks leaves his man completely uncovered for an easy catch and run of 51 yards. Most fans would think this play has nothing to do with the quarterback because it's just a check down to a running back who really does the work. But this play doesn't happen without the poise and preparation of Josh Allen, who deserves every inch of that 51 yards on his stat line as well. And then, of course, there is Super Josh, one of the most gifted quarterbacks in NFL history who continuously puts the cape on for the city of Buffalo and these Buffalo Bills. Look no further than that same opening game of the Bills season where they trailed Baltimore by 15 points late in the fourth quarter, and Josh himself accounted for more than 250 total yards of offense and 3 touchdowns in the final frame to single-handedly win Buffalo their final home opener at Highmark Stadium. He's the 3-time defending champion when it comes to big-time throws, according to PFF, and while he's been protecting the football more often, he will always have that money down knack. When it's 3rd or 4th down and the defense does everything right to stunt your offense, can your franchise quarterback put on the cape and pull a first down out of his hat? The Bills know they can always call Josh Allen. Between his arm and his legs, Josh Allen is the ultimate X factor at QB. He doesn't have the greatest group of receivers, comparatively speaking, and he's been through multiple offensive coordinators throughout his career while still maintaining a super high level of play. It's for that reason that he's one of very few QBs in the NFL today that can transcend both scheme and situation. And, of course, the number one reason why Buffalo has a shot at contending for a Super Bowl each and every year. Now let's talk about offensive coordinator Joe Brady and the Buffalo Bills' offensive scheme. They use motion at the second highest rate in football, where through 4 weeks, 194 of their offensive plays have included motion. And it's motion that not only puts the Bills players in the best position to succeed, but it gives Josh Allen and the rest of the offense really a chance to read out the opposing defense and get to their answers. The Bills line up, and the first motion comes from Josh Palmer, who goes from being the number 1 to number 2 receiver in the formation. And it also signals to Allen that New Orleans is playing man coverage because Palmer is shadowed by a Saints cornerback. So, Allen shouts at the Bills' manja call, which puts them into a mesh, a classic man coverage beating route combination. But before the snap, Allen motions Shakir across the formation, which forces Kool-Aid McKinstry to switch onto Palmer and play from outside leverage against the over-out, which is borderline impossible. Palmer weaves through traffic to create tons of separation and catches a 14-yard pass from the MVP for a first down. Now this is where things get cool. Later on the same drive, the Bills are facing 3rd and 6, and Shakir motions across the formation again to signal another man coverage call from New Orleans and isolate Curtis Samuel at the top of the screen where Kool-Aid McKinstry, expecting another mesh play call from Buffalo, plays press coverage at the line of scrimmage to defend against a potential crossing route from Samuel. However, Joe Brady dials up mesh variation, where Samuel sells the crosser by taking a step inside before busting out a whip route to create separation against McKinstry, who of course bit on the inside release. Again, it's an easy pitch and catch for Allen, who really just needs to put the ball in the hands of his wide receiver for a first down, an eventual touchdown score for Buffalo. The Bills have one of the best offenses in the NFL because they have a system that works, and each player has bought in. Their top 5 running back runs behind one of the best run and pass blocking units in the NFL, and Josh Allen is one of the most athletically gifted quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen, playing mistake-free football while still scoring touchdowns at a historic rate. They beat Baltimore, and they've taken care of business against lesser opponents, which some other teams can't say. So they're in a position to win the 1 seed as long as they continue to take care of business and hopefully finally reach the Super Bowl, which has been stolen from them time and time again, thanks to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. If you want to see more videos like this, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below whether you think the Bills will finally capture their franchise's first Lombardi Trophy this season. I will see you all next week for another video of the Turfed Football Podcast.